Lebanon with Yolanda Experience Tibet, and I'm here today with the 6th in a series of how to travel to Mount Kailash in Tibet. I'm here today again with Lobsang Wangdu. Lobsang, you want to say hi?
Hello, I'm here.
If you have questions for Lobsang or I, just pop them in the comments or just say hi and tell us where we're from. We always love to hear that. So today I'm going to talk, in this 6th video, I'm going to talk about how to choose and how to book your hotels inside Tibet. So last week we talked about how to choose and book your hotels in China, in mainland China, on their way in and out of Tibet. But today I want to talk about the hotels inside Tibet. And if you want to go back and look at the previous videos in this series, we'll pop a link under this live video when we're done with it. That we have a page now with all of the videos in the series, and you can go look at that. So today we're going to talk about how to choose and to book your hotel in Tibet, and I'm also going to give you some recommendations or just share with you the hotels that I'm going to stay in when I'm in Tibet, in the Tibetan Autonomous Region next month on my trip. So first of all, one of the biggest ways that you can support local Tibetan businesses, and we know that most of you want to do that, is to use Tibetan-owned everything when you're in Tibet, as much as you can. You know, agents, hotels, restaurants, blah, blah, blah. So if you want to book a Tibetan-owned hotel, sometimes it's hard to know how to do that. And the easiest way to do it is just to keep on in the chain of using Tibetan-owned, and that is to book a Tibetan-owned agent. And then it's very simple matter to ask your Tibetan-owned agent for some recommendations from for Tibetan-owned hotels. And the easiest way to do that is to get an idea of kind of what level hotel you want to be in. So just a note really quickly, if you want to stay in a 5-star hotel, you can't really do it. There are no, of course you can stay in a 5-star hotel, but like the St. Regis and the Shangri-La, I think it's called, but in Lhasa, but you can't stay at a Tibetan-owned 5-star hotel. They don't exist. So it's everyone's choice. If you want to stay in a 5-star hotel, you can, just to know that you're not supporting the local Tibetan economy if you do that. And also, there are some really sweet Tibetan-owned places, good customer service, clean, cozy, friendly, nicely located. So you might consider giving it a shot. We think that you would enjoy it, and it really does enhance your real-life experience of Tibet, because you're going to meet Tibetans in those hotels. If you want to ask your agent for advice, a good way to do it is to maybe ask them for 3 or 4 hotels. Let's say you're asking for advice about Lhasa. Ask them for 3 or 4 hotels in Lhasa that are Tibetan-owned. You know, that are, let's say, what I would ask for is, like, tell me the best Tibetan-owned hotels in Lhasa. Let them give you 3 or 4 links, and ask them specifically to send you links from like TripAdvisor or Booking.com. The reason I say that is there are a lot of duplicates in Lhasa everywhere, but there are a lot of places that are hard to tell by their place name. So, you know, I might say a name of a hotel, and it may be spelled really wacky on the TripAdvisor site or Booking.com or something like that. So I suggest that you ask your agent, when you're getting recommendations, to send you the exact link so that you can compare that. And then you can just look at their recommendations and see what you like. I did exactly this. Even though I've stayed at other places, I just wanted to see the, you know, kind of recently, what are the good reviews, you know, see the photos that people give. And, you know, each person is different, so your agent will recommend you something, and then you make a decision based on that recommendation. So that's a really good way to do it. I personally then just ask my agent to make the booking. And you can make the bookings yourself, and, you know, it's simple enough to do that, and it's everybody's choice. The reason that I ask the agent to make the booking is because I think that our agents, you know, Tibetan-owned agents, have relationships with those hotels. And so if something were to go wrong, which it rarely does, but if something were to go wrong in that case, they could help you. And that, you know, they have that long, old relationship with that hotel, so they could help you out there. One little point: if you are, and if you book it yourself, just book it on TripAdvisor, Booking.com, Agoda, any of those sites that you like. I've said it before. I like Booking.com. No special reason. It's just the one that I prefer to use at these days. So, one note: if you are on a group tour in the Tibetan Autonomous Region, your agency will probably kind of require that you still stay at the same hotel as everybody in the group. That's mainly because it's a big pain for them if they have to go around and pick members of the group up at different places. So we saw a case of this recently with one of our travelers who's using a Tibetan-owned agent that we recommend, and it was very simple. The traveler needs to pay for the hotel that's being booked for the group, but then they really didn't want. For some reason, they had a preference about the hotel that they wanted to stay at, so they just booked that separately. They paid separately for that, and then they didn't get any refund off their group tour because those are kind of package costs. And then they just knew that they would be the first person picked up early in the morning, and they would be the last person dropped off at night on their tour. So, and that was fine with them. So that's a choice for you. Otherwise, if you're in a group, you might just stay in the hotel that's recommended for you. And then just to move on to the specific hotels that I'm going to be using in Tibet next month. First of all, I'm going to try one that's new for me. It's popular, the Heritage Hotel. That's in the Muslim quarter in the Old Town part of Tibet, of Lhasa. And that one gets really excellent reviews, really nice customer service. It's in a good location. It's a little bit on the edge of that area that's around the Pagor, but gets good reviews. And the second part of the trip, or other parts of the trip when I'm in Lhasa again, I'm going to be staying at the Kichu, which is a real old favorite of mine. Just a note about the Kichu: it's an excellent location, good customer service, has a really sweet little garden that you can, it's my favorite thing about it, and many people's favorite thing. There's just a nice garden where you can sit and have your tea, and when you're acclimatizing, you can just rest and hang out in that garden. The only thing about the Kichu is the last time I was there, and you might want to check, there were some kind of grubby rooms, and actually I stayed in one of those grubby rooms, and I loved the little patio so much that the garden so much that I stayed there anyway. But this time I booked early and made sure that I am getting a good room at the Kichu, which is fantastic. There's one other little downside about the Kichu, and that's that it's more expensive. They've been there for a long time. They're a great location. They have a great reputation, so they charge kind of double what everybody else charges. So that the Heritage was $37 US a night, and the Kichu is $75 a night. For me, it's worth it. I just like the place, and I'm going to stay there. So other places that we've stayed in Lhasa are the Dekang, which is a very nice Tibetan-owned hotel. The location is slightly outside of Old Town. It's like just enough for me to honestly not want to stay there this time, but if the location is not a big deal for you, it was a short walk, honestly, to Old Town, but it's just not like right there, like the Kichu and the Heritage that I was just telling you about. I've also stayed at the Yak. The Yak was fine. I find it a little kind of impersonal. It's got that big hotel feel. It's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Customer service was a little, iffy. Some of the rooms can be not so great, but perfectly fine if you want to stay there. I've also stayed at the Norling near the Norbalinka, a very nice, fully Tibetan-owned family there. Sweet spot. And where else? That's all I can think of right now. So moving on, outside of Lhasa, in Gyaltsen, I'm going to be staying at the Yeti, and in Shigatse, I'm going to be staying at the Gesar. Both of those get excellent reviews on TripAdvisor, and they're both Tibetan-owned. So I'm looking forward to those. In the rest of the trip is kind of a hodgepodge. In Kailash, we're going to be staying at huts, so there's kind of like no choice, nothing to book. I mean, our agents will take care of that. In Everest Base Camp, I'm not staying at Everest Base Camp. We're going to stay at Old Tingri, which is probably going to be, honestly, like a low point in the accommodations on the trip. So it's like, some days it's not going to be great. Gundan, Samya Trek, we're going to be camping along the trek with stuff provided by our agent. And then the rest of the towns are just going to be local hotels recommended and arranged by our guides on the fly. All Tibetan-owned, just at our request and at our our Tibetan-owned agents always put people into Tibetan-owned. And by the way, another reason to go with your Tibetan-owned agents is if you work with a Chinese-owned travel agency like Tibet Vista, the TibetTravel.org, who looks very, they try very hard to look like a Tibetan-owned agency, but they are not. They're actually a Chinese state-owned. CITS is the Chinese state-owned travel bureau, and they're a branch of that. So when you go with people like them or any Chinese-owned agency, they don't have as much interest, of course, in promoting local-owned Tibetan businesses. So you're less likely, not to say that you won't, but you're much less likely to end up in recommended to or to end up in a Tibetan-owned place, either in Lhasa or outside as you go along. So that's it. So, this booking is really easy. Getting your hotels in Tibet is really easy. It's easier if you use a Tibetan-owned guide and get their recommendations and let them book it for you. If you book it on your own, it's probably, I'm not even sure about this, but I think it's slightly cheaper. There may be some slight, commission that your agents are getting, but, most of us, the money is pretty small compared to that you're, supporting local Tibetan businesses. So if you need help, if you don't have your own Tibetan-owned agent, we're happy to refer that for you. You can go to our website, yowangdu.com, YOWANGDU.com, and look at the homepage. There's a button that says Get Tibet Travel Help, and you just click that, and we'll take you to a form, and we can set you up with a Tibetan-owned agent. And also, many people who want to go to Tibet don't know how to get there. They don't know who to trust for planning their trip, and we have a comprehensive guide that helps you make your Tibet travel much simpler and safer so that you can have peace of mind about your trip. And again, if you just go to our website, you can find more information about our comprehensive guide at yowangdu.com. So please let us know if you have any questions, if you would like any comments. Tell us about places that you've stayed in Tibet. There's nothing more valuable than on-the-ground information from many people who've stayed at various places and have recommendations. And we would love to hear also your thoughts about any videos that you would like in this series or other. We'll be doing more series of these, so if you have any more ideas about that, we'd love to hear it. So give us a recommendation for what you'd like. So that's it. Lobsang, do you have anything that I forgot or?
No, I don't think so.
That's it?
You covered everything.
Okay, well that's it, guys. So have a wonderful day, and we will talk to you next time.